Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive right into a mystery that is, honestly, incredibly frustrating for so many of us. Why is it that most middle-class people work their absolute hardest their entire lives, doing everything perfectly right, and yet they never actually become financially free? I mean, think about it. You study hard, you get a solid job, you save your money, you play it completely safe, and somehow you still feel like you're just endlessly running on a treadmill. Well, today, we're unpacking exactly why this happens. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how you can finally break out of it.
Look, when we see this massive, growing gap, where some people seem to build wealth completely effortlessly while the rest of us are barely treading water, we have to stop and ask a really uncomfortable question. Is the middle class just lazy? Is it simply a lack of effort that's keeping incredibly hardworking people from reaching financial freedom?
The answer to that is a resounding, absolute no. Most middle-class people work incredibly hard. The harsh reality is that the system itself is structurally designed to keep most people running forever. It's like a giant hamster wheel. Once you truly grasp this premise, that the standard financial rules you've been taught to follow are actually operating as a trap, you will literally never look at money the same way again.
Let's get right to the root of the issue with what we'll call the old formula. You know the drill. It's what our parents hammered into us. Study hard, get a stable job, save a chunk of your money, buy a house, and boom, you're set for life. And to be totally fair, this was a fantastic blueprint for the American dream decades ago. It really worked. But in today's economy, that formula is completely and fundamentally broken.
Because right now, even people earning really decent salaries are feeling incredibly stressed out. Just look at the reality of modern life. You might actually be making twice what your parents made at your exact age, but a starter home, yeah, that costs like 5 times as much now. Rent is through the roof, inflation keeps creeping up, and let's face it, jobs feel more insecure than ever. So despite working harder than anyone before you, you might actually feel poorer. The modern middle-class life hasn't just gotten harder, it has become a literal financial trap. So let's talk about the first invisible trap keeping us stuck, the salary trap. Depending entirely on a salary sounds totally normal, right? Everyone does it. But active income from a salary grows at an absolute snail's pace. Meanwhile, everyday survival expenses, things like rent, groceries, school fees, medical costs, those take off like a rocket every single year. So, even after you grind for those hard-earned promotions at work, you still feel completely stuck because your daily expenses are vastly outpacing your raises.
And beyond just the basic math of inflation versus your annual raise, there is a much deeper problem with relying purely on a paycheck. Think about this. A salary stops the exact moment you stop working. That's the terrifying fragility of trading your time for money. It gives you this comforting illusion of stability. But the hard truth is that an unexpected illness, a sudden round of corporate layoffs, or even just severe burnout can instantly wipe out that financial security.
Which leads us right into the biggest trap of the whole shebang, the vicious cycle of work, pay bills, and repeat. Welcome to the EMI lifestyle trap. Modern society has completely normalized endless debt. You get the newest phone on a payment plan, you finance a car, you buy furniture on credit. Heck, even your summer vacation goes straight onto a credit card. People start feeling rich because they have all this cool stuff around them, while in reality they're becoming entirely dependent on their very next paycheck just to keep the lights on.
There's a saying that perfectly captures how dangerous this is. Monthly payments slowly consume future income. Before your salary even hits your bank account next month, a huge chunk of it is already gone, booked to pay for your past decisions. And man, social media makes the psychology behind this so much worse. We're constantly comparing our everyday lives to someone else's highlight reel. People end up buying things not because they actually need them, but because they desperately want to look successful today. And committing your future income just to keep up appearances, that absolutely destroys your ability to create real wealth.
All right, now we hit the core aha moment of this entire explainer. Think about the direct contrast in behavior here. The middle class usually spends their money on liabilities, depreciating items, and status symbols. Basically things that lose value the second you buy them. In contrast, the wealthy are out there buying businesses, stocks, and real estate. They are buying cash-flowing assets that actually grow in value over time.
But it isn't just about what they're putting in their shopping carts. It's rooted in a profound difference in mindset. Just look at the perspective shift. A middle-class mindset is constantly asking, how can I afford the monthly payment? They are totally focused on consuming their cash flow. But a rich mindset, it asks, how can this make me more money? They're focused on generating cash flow. Assets generate cash flow, liabilities eat it up.
Most people just never learn this crucial distinction, and honestly, making this single shift in perspective changes your financial future completely.
Let's actually visualize how this mindset gap compounds over, say, a 10-year timeline. Imagine two people, person A and person B, starting at year 1 making the exact same salary. By year 5, person A is upgrading their lifestyle, taking out bigger loans, increasing their overhead. Person B, on the other hand, is learning new high-value skills, investing consistently, and picking up assets. At first, their lives probably look identical from the outside. But fast forward to year 10 and the gap is unbelievable. Because of their differing choices over that decade, person A is stressed and surviving paycheck to paycheck, while person B has built total financial freedom.
So, why on earth isn't everyone acting like person B? Well, a lot of it comes down to a silent wealth killer, our outdated education system. Think about it. Schools spend weeks teaching us the Pythagorean theorem, but dedicate exactly 0 hours to explaining how a mortgage works. They completely miss the mark on investing, taxes, business, money psychology, and actual wealth creation. We enter adulthood knowing how to pass a standardized test, but clueless about how money actually functions in the real world. So we're left to learn about money through really costly life mistakes. And by the time most people finally figure the game out, decades of compounding growth are already gone.
And then there's a second silent killer constantly at play behind the scenes: inflation. The purchasing power of cash steadily drops over time. So many hardworking middle-class families believe that just stacking cash in the traditional bank account is the ultimate security. But inflation is silently eating away at your actual buying power every single year. It's like a tax you don't even see.
Which brings us to a very sobering reality check. If your money is growing slower than the rate of inflation, you are slowly, steadily losing wealth. That old-school financial advice about relying on simple savings accounts, it just doesn't provide security in our modern economy anymore. Keeping everything you own in cash guarantees a slow decline in what you can actually afford.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? What's the way out? The answer is an intentional escape plan. It's grounded, it's highly actionable, and it is based entirely on long-term thinking. Escaping this trap isn't going to come from some get-rich-quick shortcut, gambling on meme stocks, or watching fake motivational videos. The real escape comes from actively developing high-income skills, hyper-focusing on ownership, investing consistently, building businesses, and maintaining some really strict financial discipline.
It all boils down perfectly to this thought: true wealth is built when assets begin working for you. Your ultimate goal here is to stop depending solely on your active income, meaning you have to stop trading your limited time for a paycheck. Instead, shift your entire focus toward building systems and owning assets that generate income for you whether you are awake and working or fast asleep.
I really want to hammer this home because it is absolutely crucial. The middle class is not stuck because people are lazy. If you are struggling right now, it is not your fault for working hard. The reality is just that you're likely playing by financial rules built for a completely different era. In today's hyper-fast economy, working hard alone is simply no longer enough. Understanding how the modern system actually operates is the only true way to break the cycle.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important question to ask ourselves. Are you going to learn the new rules of money, or are you going to stay trapped in survival mode forever? The people who take the time to understand money early change their entire futures, and those who ignore it, unfortunately, stay stuck on that treadmill. Taking control of your financial education today isn't optional anymore, it's mandatory. If you enjoyed diving into this with us, make sure to subscribe to these explainers for more deep dives into money, psychology, business, and navigating the modern economy. Keep learning, keep building those assets, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.